Gentlemen, let's welcome you to the opening match of MPLI 2023. From the Philippines, we have APBR, and all the way from North America, we have the Ohio Brothers. So let's get straight into the Land of Dawn.
Here it is. At the start of the game, we're expecting a bit more of a closer game. But honestly, I want to take a look at this matchup, right? The Kaja pick into the Kufra, not something that you would usually see, knowing that the Kufra actually has a better time usually against the Kaja, but it just shows you when a team goes for the Kaja after a Kufra comes in, that the Kaja is a really, really experienced player and is very confident in the skill that he can actually display in the Land of Dawn, maybe going in for the initiations before the Kufra or maybe even the Uranus can set up and open. We're already seeing some aggression here from TOB early on, getting that Lethal Wanderer. A small win, but it's a win that is quite expected for a Guinevere in the jungle. Super fast clear on top of the crazy changes in the patch to that knock-up, now instant.
Now, we were talking about Phobias being a really good issue or a good point for the Ohio Brothers to utilize against APBR. In the laning phase, a Uranus and a Phobias. What is that going to look like? But wait a minute, best player one.
There's some damage, best player one just getting deleted in the first minute of the game. You need lockdown. Once you get that, Nolan is free.
And that's Nolan for you. Early game pressure, really good ganking potential, and that damage. Even despite the nerfs coming through, I do feel like this early game is still something to be afraid of. And for the moment, we aren't actually seeing the Phobias being a big issue just yet, especially in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Not at all, man. We need to see level 4. That's the power spike for this, for both actually the Guinevere and the Phobias, but mainly the Phobias, right? For Guinevere as well, you'd expect some sorts of more survivability. There's a bouncing ball in the mid lane just to stop Super Shark, and that's more mid-prio for APBR. Setting up for the turtle, but best player one is already holding it down, resetting it, and not letting APBR get their hands on it.
Let's see what goes on here right now. APBR still holding the economy lead. In terms of level, Kyle TZ does have a little bit of an advantage over the Guinevere, over best player one. So it doesn't look like the Ohio Brothers actually want to commit onto the turtle just yet. But neither do APBR. They're looking for some pressure in the mid side before they start setting up.
We haven't seen a lot of competitive, tournaments right after the patch. It's probably the first one, the first actual real international tournament after the patch. And this is why we're already seeing it delayed. Gwen, Tyrant's Revenge and the Tyrant's Rage connecting on the Super Shark, who's now forced to flicker out. Kaltizi burns the Fracture. And APBR get a big W here against the Roamer. Best player one rotating down as well. Mielo has the damage, and that's going to be the Violent Requiem locking down one, but the Netherrealm saves Ogun for a bit. There's some dive as well from Baptizi. Mielo's taken super, super low, unable to use the Demonic Force, and under the turret now locked down by Divine Judgment. Baptizi looking for that kill, and he actually does get it with the help of Ogun. It's 1-for-1, but APBR secured a neutral objective.
Looks like they're looking for more here. I don't think they should at the moment.
Whoa!
But it's going to be Super Marco taken out 1v1. What happened?
That is something that we don't see a lot. Super Marco getting solo killed up top by Zia.
How? I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to wrap my head around what exactly happened, because in theory, I would say that Super Marco would have a little bit of an edge, especially now that he's level 6. He has the Blazing Duet to jump in and jump out of situations, but I wish we could see a replay of that particular lane.
Looking at how it happened, up top in the map, it looked like Super Marco just went for a very, very deep dive and had to pay the price for it.
So overconfidence?
Overcommitment, definitely. Fracture now from Super. Oh my god! Just deleted off the Land of Dawn once again. That Fracture, disgusting.
That's Super Shark of all of the players as well. That's their roamer that gets instantly taken out by APBR, and this is it. The Ohio Brothers, they need to think about their game plan. What were they going for with this particular strategy, right? With Novaria, with the Phobias, do you think that they should play a little bit more passively in the early stage, play for that late game, and buy some time, especially realizing that up until this point, Kaltizi, there hasn't been any counter towards him?
On paper, that's definitely what they're trying to do, right? They're looking for that mid-game power spike that's bounce ahead at this point, because even though APBR have been able to win a lot of the early skirmishes, especially around the neutral objective, TOB have been trading really well with Zia, getting a solo kill up top, and now TOB putting the pressure on, giving Zia so much more room, so much more space. He got a few good hits on that turret plating, and now clears out the wave as well.
Let's see. It's only been 5 minutes. Can you imagine? Zaya already actually munching out on that turret in the top side. Phew. He's trying to defend it for his life, but he can't. They gotta let it go. So in this exchange, AP Bren, they lose that gold lane, but in the middle,
has to burn Flicker, and that's gonna be the jump again with the Requiem comboed in. NetherRealm still ready, but it's gonna be used up in the last second. Oquim gets popped and pulled out of the NetherRealm, and that's another kill going to TOB for free.
they're putting out a really good show right now. The Ohio brothers, I mean, I think everyone watching, the audience as well, they were expecting this to be a landslide for AP Bren. I mean, this is the tournament favorites, the champions of MPL PH. And the Ohio brothers, you can call them a dark horse, and yet this is the performance that we're seeing from them. AP Bren, it looks like they need to find more things elsewhere.
They need to look for a trade here, or they just need to take it even slower. But if they do that, take it slower, even slower, they're going to risk a lot of the mid-game power spike, a lot of the mid-game pressure going to the hands on TOB. You're going to actually have to sacrifice that maybe, and you can already see the lane swap here done by the side of TOB to give Zia even more space down below to bully Flap Teasy. Ogwen just gets a Tyrant's Revenge, goes in for Tyrant's Rage as well. It's a good lockdown as well. Best player one running away, Spatial Migration, and the clone gets him out to safety.
And AP Bren, at the moment, still holding that gold lead. You were talking about Zaya earlier on with the lane swap, but Zaya already has that BOD, so essentially the damage is already there just in case he does want to participate into the team fights. And that's the story we wrote. Super Marco, how far is he? I'm wondering, I'm curious as to see the items building in for both of these teams, and especially the gold lane.
It's a fun fact, actually. Just now, we are seeing a lot of Claudes go for Corrosion Scythe first item instead of the DHS first item that we usually normally see. And that's, I feel, what Super Marco is also going for. He went for the Corrosion Scythe first, and now, only now that he's building towards the DHS and then the Golden Staff to get more hits on that Blazing Duet, on the on-hit effects there to slow the opponents down and to provide maybe a bit more utility in these fights. We can see Calteezy with the Fracture again onto who, but now gets caught in the Spatial Migration. The Requiem locks him down, and it's best player one who secures a kill onto Kyle Teasy. Meanwhile, Flap just jumping forward, trying to zone TOB away, trying to get some more space for the rest of the team to follow it back up onto the turtle here. Let's spawn back in. It's BP1 with a free turtle. He just needs to hit on this Retribution. The mirror's bashing is locked in with the Blazing Duet in the back line with the help of the Corrosion Scythe. Slows Zia down enough, but he flickers around the wall, but it's Ogwen with a Timer's Rage flicker combo, locking him down, picking up a double kill as Mielo now is looking for a re-engage with the help of best player one. They decide to move back. They get the turtle, and that's it.
That's going to be a 2-for-1 trade, but the Ohio brothers take the turtle. So essentially, in that particular situation, would you go for a death for a turtle? Is that a good trade for the Ohio brothers?
I think looking at it, it should have been a good trade, but AP Bren got 2 kills. That was a 4v5. AP Bren actually had no right winning that team fight, but they did anyways.
But remember, the kill's onto Ogwen. Ogwen's 3-1-2.
It's about the pressure you get with the kills, right? Sure, the gold acquisition could definitely be better. It could definitely be on better hands like Marco or even Few. But the fact that they were able to take down 2 members there gives AP Bren so much more room and space around the map. You can see turrets start to fall, and you can see Super Marco is given that space to farm up, to get a level lead over Zia now.
I mean, despite that, I do agree with you. AP Bren still look like they're holding control over the map as well. They have a little bit more turrets under their nose. They're utilizing that advantage really well. And it looks like the Ohio brothers are kind of stuck in their own base. They've been asphyxiated. But we now see the potential of the composition that the Ohio brothers brought in with the combination coming in from best player one as well as Novaria. The combination that we were talking in from the drafting phase is something that AP Bren, they need to look out for. They need to watch out for. They can't get overconfident because eventually when these things, I understand you think that AP Bren might have a little bit more of a advantage in that particular situation, but imagine that keeps on happening over the course of this game and over the course of the next neutral objectives. Kyle Teasy needs to stay alive. He can't be taken out. I think that's imperative.
Definitely. I think Super Marco as well, with the help of Kyle Teasy, these 2 carries basically need to stay alive as much as they can, because there's a lot of kill pressure, there's a lot of pick pressure as well for the side of TOB. They can look for it, and this is exactly it, the Flicker Divine Judgment, but it's only onto Flap Teasy, who has a lot of help with the Consecration and another realm already, but that's 2 big resources burned out. AP Bren baited out the Demonic Force. And Kaltizi is already on the Lord. That's a big resource burnt out as well. Few jumps in with the Shadow Stampede, brings Super Shark back, but it's a free Lord over to AP Bren, who are playing this game perfectly from the mid-game onwards.
Wow, 5,000 gold lead for AP Bren as well. So despite all the little wins that the Ohio brothers have actually been able to amount to, they have still not been able to gain control of the game here 10 minutes in. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you at home watching, don't forget to name this hero. Who is this? Because if you guess it correctly, you guys get a chance to win 4,000 diamonds. I can't answer that.
You can't answer that?
I can't. I'll give you a
can't because
clue.
you don't want to reveal it, or you can't because you just don't know.
I know, we were talking about this yesterday. Because I said Zilong, and it turns out it wasn't Zilong.
Or maybe
Someone
it is.
else.
Someone can guess Zilong now. Maybe that might be like a bait, right?
Well, that's a clue.
That is a clue. It's not Zilong, or maybe it is. You never know when it's Eterna sometimes, and honestly, this game as well, you never know when it's AP Bren, right? Early on, it was TOB who held it down, but AP Bren have come back from it, and the way they come back is they get a massive gold lead to play with a big Lord marching down in the bottom lane. TOB still has a lot of good wave clear, though. They have Zia on that Bennett, and it's Hoon on the Navaria. Very, very good wave clear to play with, and they'll be able to clear out the waves very easily with the first Lord Siege.
Got a lot of range as well in their composition, so I don't believe that this is the time for AP Bren to go in for the end. And you were talking about the items coming in from Super Marco on the Claude with the Corrosion Scythe. Do you think it's because of the nerf towards the emblem?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, again,
Like a decrease in slow, right?
A little bit more adaptation for the items as well. I feel like even without the nerf, the Corrosion Scythe first could be just a little bit of an adaptation with the Claude nerfs in the patch before this one. Remember the one where you can't really clear waves as fast anymore? Now you use that Blazing Duet more to poke, to join team fights, and with that Corrosion Scythe, it basically acts like the physical damage version of an Ice Queen wand, just giving you utility to play with.
And you guys can play with a little bit more diamonds as well.
Hey,
If
hey.
you guys at home that win 4,000 diamonds, and all you need to do is register for updates to One Esports. That's it.
So you can guess the
4,000
hero
diamonds.
for 4,000. You can register for updates for 4,000. That is equal to 8,000. Quick maths.
Essentially
Eterna?
8K, yeah. And that's a 1K gold difference between the gold laners here right now.
Ouch.
What do you think about this disparity?
I mean, it's crazy. It's a 1.6k gold lead in the 12th minute of the game on a Claude. He's been free farming so much, despite that solo kill earlier on that a lot of people would expect to be one of the determining factors as to how a gold lead actually forms. No, Super Marco has been given so much space, he's actually a level ahead as well. And with that Windtalker, now all he needs is a Wind of Nature, and he's already building towards. And heck, he might even go for a Sea Halberd instead of that Wind of Nature.
With that being said, is there no possibility, no scenario that best player one can be the one to take him down?
There's a chance. Ogun with the conceal looking for the play in the bottom lane. The whole team is rotating down with the conceal. Oh! Ogun misses the Timer's Revenge Flicker combo. Zia dashes out now. The team is there to help him out, but he already used the Flicker earlier. That's the Astral Echo coming down. Super Shark flickering forward just to buy a little more space as Zia is still kiting back. But look at that Nolan jumping to the black. That's a fracture to take Zia down. But the Demonic Force follows through as well. That's a double kill from the Nolan. With the help of the NetherRealm, he stays intact, and it's only Mielo left to defend. 1v5. Mielo gets taken down by Super Marco, and it's a wipeout for AP Bren.
Wiped out straight into the first match of MPLI 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what makes champions. This is what gave them the championship back at MPL PH, and they're looking for the end.
14 minutes. A convincing win from AP Bren despite a lot of small mistakes. They come out on top with pure discipline.
Wow. Kyle Teasy and Nolan.
What a flank.
That was